Hi, I'm Dara Bunjon, food writer, publicist, food stylist, and as always, the frustrated baker. I'm the food enthusiast here at J. Moore Living. Our topic today is Restaurant Weeks, and our guest is executive chef and proprietor of the award-winning Milton Inn in Sparks, Maryland, Brian Boston. Brian, welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Dara.
Well, love it, love it. We go back so many years. Let's get the ball rolling. Restaurant Week. Do you know how it started? I mean, it's a big thing. When did it start?
It originally started in New York City, I think in 1992. The owners of Zagat,
Tim
Zagat,
yeah.
started it. It was started during lunchtime.
It was a lunchtime promotion.
And it was a 3-course meal for $19.92.
And that kicked it off. It's an international phenomenon now. I mean, it isn't just here in the States that people do Restaurant Week. And Restaurant Week can be 2 weeks. Restaurant Week can be a month somewhere. Baltimore City had Restaurant Week, but Baltimore County didn't. And you were the impetus to get it going in Baltimore County. So why don't you fill me in on that?
Yes, I was. In 2010, August of 2010, I decided that we needed a restaurant week in Baltimore County because every time the city had a restaurant week, we had no business. And so I started calling friends of mine. And originally, we started with 14 restaurants, most of which were in northern Baltimore County, and they were generally fine dining restaurants. After our first restaurant week, the county got involved and helped us bring it along to where it's at now, which generally we're having about 60 restaurants or more during each of our restaurant weeks now. And it's this thing that's grown, and we have everything from food trucks to fine dining, and there's not one part of the county that someone's not participating now.
And Baltimore County Restaurant Week starts on Friday the 17th, and you run 2 weeks, which is through Saturday, February 1st.
Correct. It's actually 16 days.
Okay. I can't, Baltimore City kicks off tomorrow night, and there really won't be too much of a lap over with that. I go to Restaurant Week. I find it really enticing to go out and try new restaurants that I hadn't tried before. The menus that they have online, what entices me. So the more menus and the more items they put up. The Milton Inn has a large selection for Restaurant Week, and you are doing lunch and brunch, and I think you're doing 25-20. You're carrying on that theme that whatever the year is, that's what you tack on for cents for Restaurant Week.
Correct.
So 25-20 for lunch and brunch, and I'm looking at my notes, and dinner is $40.20.
Correct.
But they're all 3 courses.
Yes, all 3 courses.
And if you have not been out to the Milton Inn, it is a 280-year-old formstone? Was it form?
It's a fieldstone.
Fieldstone.
Mm-hmm.
Fieldstone Inn, that was a school. What's the history on the Milton Inn?
Well, originally it was a coach stop for the early Quaker settlers. It became a boys' school, and that's where it got its name from Milton's Paradise Lost. That's where it picked up the Milton Inn name. John Wilkes Booth was one of his most infamous students that went to the school. It became a private residence for a while for the Hearst family, and then it again became a restaurant, and has been a restaurant ever since.
And you've been the executive chef and proprietor for how many years now?
22 years.
And it's hard to believe with your baby face. I always tease you, so young looking. I need to tell people about you because you really go back to starting at Pierce's when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You went to CIA, am I correct?
I did.
Culinary Institute of America. You came back, you've worked at the Brass Elephant, you had Pier 500,
Mm-hmm.
where when I had the Epicurean Club of Maryland, you did a cooking class, and I always rave about the duck breasts that you taught us. It's fabulous, fabulous. But what you don't know about Brian is that he was voted Chef of the Year by the Restaurant Association of Maryland, and over the years he's become the director of the executive board, or the chairman of the board, for the Restaurant Association of Maryland. And the restaurant, I'm forgetting. You were also Best Chef of America, top 1%. I'm reading my notes, folks. 1% of all chefs in America. And that's a continuing thing. You're always up there with them. What does it take to be up there? It's hard work, but what's your day like?
You get up early and you go to bed late, and it's all about work. I'm very committed to the work that I do, and it's a lifestyle. It's not really a job, it's a lifestyle. And anyone successful that you can think of around town, like Linwood Dame to Cindy Wolf, they're doing the same thing every day that I do. They get up, put their pants on, and go to work. And we're very focused people, and you have to want to do the work that you're doing and enjoy it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it at the level that we do.
No, the Milton Inn has won the D. Rona Award. It's the only one in the
county.
In the county.
There's only 3 in the whole state, I think.
And can you tell me a bit about the D. Rona Award?
It's the Distinguished Restaurant of North America. It's a very prestigious award. I received my first DeRona Award in 1998, I believe, the same year that Julia Child was inducted to the DeRona Hall of Fame.
Wonderful. Wine Spectator, yes?
Yeah, Wine Spectator, perennial winner of the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence.
A 5 Diamond Award?
5-star Diamond Award by Hospitality Science. I forget what the acronym means exactly, but it's a very prestigious award to have, and we're extremely lucky. That's, again, I think Cindy Wolf has one, and Volt in Frederick has one.
Well, dining at the Milton Inn, first of all, folks, if you've never been, you have to go. Not only is the food fabulous, not only is the service excellent, but you have to see the space. It's gorgeous, beautifully decorated, and I was up there during the holidays, and you really just set the tone with beautiful decorations. Do you leave some of them up during the winter months?
No, we change seasonally. So right now, my mother actually does the decorating. My mother and my cousin, they do the decorating for me in the house. And Christmas just got taken down. Valentine's will be the next thing to go up, which will be done shortly.
Get your reservations now.
Yeah, Valentine's is always a very busy time for us, and we love it. It's a very romantic spot.
And how many fireplaces do you have?
We have 7 now, but we really only operate 2 of them. In the hearth room, there's one that's a wood-burning fireplace, and then on our veranda, which is brand new, we have a beautiful stone fireplace, but it's a gas fireplace, and but it really adds to the excitement of an evening and the ambiance.
Well, tell me about the veranda. You're saying it's new.
Mm-hmm. Well, we redid a renovation about 3 or 4 years ago, and the only thing we didn't get finished was the covering for the patio, and there were some governmental issues with that, so we had to work through, and we finally got the approval for it, and now we have this beautiful new structure that has a roof that retracts. The sides all go up and down, and it seats up to about 60 people comfortably. So it's a really nice addition to what we do at the Milton Inn.
And I haven't seen it at night. I'm going to see it soon. We're going to do the official kickoff for it. But you said at night, because it's all open sides. Mm-hmm. It's a clear view all the way around,
yes,
except for the fireplace. And
it's absolutely beautiful at night. I mean, in the daytime, in the summer, when the gardens are there, it'll be beautiful as well. But for some reason, at night, it's just absolutely beautiful inside, and it just feels like a really special place.
Yeah, the retractable roof. You know, it's funny. You were talking about Cindy Wolf posting on Facebook. She's in France right now, and she posted a picture of this restaurant, La Serre, mm-hmm, with a retractable roof. And I go on, I said, I was there with Nona Nielsen Parker, and she was there. And we were, it's just how long ago was that? I said, in the 90s. But that retractable roof, you're going to be able to look up and see the stars.
Exactly.
And is that where you're doing some live entertainment jazz that's coming up?
Yes, we're going to start doing live jazz in probably right after January's over with. We're doing a kickoff party at the end of January, and then after that we'll have a schedule on our website that'll tell you when our jazz nights will be. But we're trying to give people another reason to stay in the county and get some entertainment that we didn't normally have. Hopefully, if those nights take off, then we'll expand it a little bit more. But I'm really looking forward to the jazz nights.
Well, people, it's very simple. www.miltoninn.com. So check it out. All the menus are up there, and you can even see the Restaurant Week menus. I don't want to miss, you have a special small plates menu. And is that going to be what's served on the veranda? Or?
Yes, you'll be able to get any of our menus on the veranda, but the small plate menu, we're really going to kind of push in that direction. And then the kitchen normally closes around 9 o'clock, so we're going to have another smaller limited menu, but with the small plate items and one of our interesting desserts. We're doing s'mores tableside, so we have these little
Great.
grills that we're going to put out that people can make their own s'mores right at the table.
And that's going to be available all the time, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, we try to do something a little different.
Yeah. I have to tell you all that Brian and I were talking earlier. We are both linguine and clams folks. So we're having a whole thing on linguine and clams. And he says that, if you're the right person, you come in and you ask really, really nicely, or maybe call ahead, that he can fix you linguine and clams. Obviously, if you have the clams there.
Yep.
What can people expect to see on your Restaurant Week menu?
Oh, on the Restaurant Week menu, we have blackened catfish with shrimp etouffee. There's a grilled filet mignon. We have a chicken valdostano. There's a mushroom phyllo, wild mushroom phyllo for vegetarian people, not vegan but vegetarian. We have desserts from macadamia nut torte, which I know is one of your favorites.
Yes.
To our wonderful creme brulee, cheesecake. You'll have at least 5 to 7 different desserts to choose from. I don't like limiting people so much with 1 or 2 things. I like to offer them pretty much everything so they can get a real good taste of what we do.
And that's important. It's, that's what Restaurant Week's about. To go into a restaurant and know that, get a taste of what they do and have a selection. People like to buy from selection. If you have 2 appetizers, 2 entrees, 2 desserts, I'm not so moved. But
well, it also makes it difficult for someone to find something that they want. If you have 4 people and there's only 2 items in each category, maybe it's going to be difficult for one of those 4 people to find something that they really want. And so that's why we do a little bit more of an expanded menu.
One day my brain will come back to me. I'm not sure when. It's unfortunate. I have a thought and then it disappears. Being involved with the Restaurant Association of Maryland, are you seeing any trends that we can look forward to in 2020?
About trends, I know, casual dining seems to be hitting its stride a lot more than some of the other segments of the industry. And I think that, has a lot to do with just people's pocketbooks and people being a little more conservative than they used to be with money. I mean, you and I remember the 80s, and it was a time where people spent a lot freely, a lot more freely than they do now. I know I'm been affected by that as well. I think most people have been, where you think a little more about, the dollars that you're spending. And that's another reason that Restaurant Week, when it comes along, is a good time for people to take advantage of, lower prices and try to get a good experience.
Right. And what's nice about your restaurant is linen tablecloths. You don't see that much anymore. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's an expense, but it's a dining experience. And that's what, it's one thing to go grab the shrimp salad sandwich from the carry-out place. That's not a dining experience. But when I come to the Milton Inn, it's an evening. It's an experience. And that's why you work so hard and your staff work so hard to create an experience, that somebody goes back. Yes, it's special occasions. Yes, anytime you want to go in for a special party, rehearsal dinners, weddings, they're all there. The Milton Inn really creates an ambiance that I don't think people can get anyplace else. It's really quite beautiful, and you need to go out, during Restaurant Week to get a touch of that. Everything else, Jazz Night, everything will kick off February 1st. I'm losing my months here. Once Restaurant Week is over, I wanted to talk to you about, we're seeing these locally right now. We saw Minnow change, reestablish itself. We see Cunningham's is changing. They're not closing, but they're reevaluating and recreating a new atmosphere for them. And then I just saw that Sticky Rice down in Fells Point is doing the same thing. They'll be back in 8 weeks, and they're going to be a breakfast all day, but geared to vegan and vegetarian. Do you see this as a trend?
Well, I see a lot of people trying to find their footing. The restaurant industry is a very difficult industry. Finding your niche in particular neighborhoods is really important. I think some of those restaurants are just experiencing what they've been doing for however many years they've been open just isn't quite working for them anymore, and they have to make a pivot. So they're doing what they have to do to try and stay relevant. At the Milton Inn, we do that all the time. We're constantly changing. It may not appear like we change a lot, but over the last 22 years, we've made many, many changes. And you kind of have to pick your spot. You have to evaluate what's happening, listen to your customers and what they're telling you they want, and change as much as you can, but stay who you are still. And it's a difficult balancing act to do. So, any of these restaurateurs that are making these changes, they're doing it because they have to. It's not because they really want to. It's because that's what the market's telling them to do.
If they want to survive, they have to make that change.
Exactly.
And, I'm definitely seeing with the younger generation being very much more concerned about what they're eating. Vegetarian, vegan is really growing. And so I look at Sticky Rice and saying maybe this is a good path for them to go. Where can people find you? We know that it's the Milton Inn. You're out in Sparks. That's York Road.
Yeah, we're at 14833 York Road.
Everybody, did you get that? Repeat that for me, Brian.
14833 York Road, Sparks, Maryland.
So if they're going out 83, they could get off Glencoe and make a right, or they
would either get off exit 20 or exit 24. So it's 20 is Shawan Road East, and then 24 is Belfast Road.
Belfast, okay. So I don't know why I was thinking Glencoe. I'm umming again. I'm trying to break myself of that habit. I want to thank Brian for being here. Is there anything else that we want to say? They can find you www.miltoninn.com.
Miltoninn.com. And if you're looking for Baltimore County Restaurant Week, go to baltimorecountyrestaurantweek.com. And all the places are listed there, and hopefully a lot of the menus are there as well. I know mine is.
Of course, of course. So, Brian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always great seeing you and catching up, because we go back for a number of years. We won't say how many. And next week, I want to tell you that I'm going to have Kylie Parati and Marcy Yankelov of the new and very successful Baltimore Supper Club. Before I forget, I want to tell people I appreciate the support and that you've been showing the Food Enthusiast. So, don't forget, tune in every Thursday at 12:30 for a live program for the Food Enthusiast. It'll be up on J Moore Living on Facebook, on their website, jmoreliving.com, and it'll be up on the J Moore, the Food Enthusiast at YouTube. As always, we appreciate your support, and may your plates always remain full, and I will see you next week.